You're listening to season 15 of the Virtual Tailgate, a media bullcrap production covering college football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I'm Andrew.
I'm David.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm going to miss her.
We're glad that you're here on the Virtual Tailgate, the only sports podcast that will not spend half of your time berating Brian Kelly for having finally gotten fired. That's not to say that we don't hate him.
The fake Southern accent.
The cherry picker.
His dance moves.
Yes, we hate him, but he's not an ACC coach now, and hopefully he never will be. Be sure to join the tailgate online at Virtual Tailgate on Facebook or email us virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
Well, you know what makes up confidence is taking risks. And Andrew, on the Virtual Tailgate this week, we took a risk by not devoting a full half of our show to Brian Kelly. But you know what else is confidence? Confidence can occur in school. I want to read you one of my daughter's projects that she just did at school, and you will see how much confidence it takes to put something like this at such a young age. On earlier this week, my daughter was working on a project where she had to work with SM words. Okay, so SM words and make a sentence. So we're going to go through a couple of these. So the first word is small. SM, small. A mouse is small. Okay, yeah, that makes pretty good sense. Okay, so then there was smash. She says, I find my piggy bank and I smash it to take the monies. Okay, so we're working on here some confidence, got some real entrepreneurial spirit going on with the money bank smash, but it gets better. It gets better, right? Okay, so now we get smock. Anybody know what a smock is? Not a word that I would typically use, but apparently the appropriate relationship of smock is that I got poop on my smock. It gets better, it gets better, it gets better, okay? So, going from there, we have the SM word smell. She smells the flowers. Also for her teacher, I smell poop. I don't know what to tell you, gentlemen. Confidence if I ever saw any. And Tacova's work boots certainly is confidence without any other. You can certainly you can certainly get poop on your smock. You can smell the poop. You can even smear the poop if you want to. Just make sure you don't get poop on the Tacovas.
Geoff, one thing I've learned in this week's episode, your daughter really takes after her uncle, doesn't she?
Me? Oh, all right. Let's get into some game balls here. No surprises. Multiple week recipient of the game ball. Haynes King out of Georgia Tech accounted for all 5 of their touchdowns on the day, en route to yet another win for the Yellow Jackets. 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. Way to go, Mr. King.
And my personal king this week is going to go to Kamari Copeland, the defensive tackle for Virginia Tech. 3 sacks in the big win against Cal, 2 overtime effort. Really was needed at the end of the game to go ahead and seal the victory. Yes, Andrew. What is it?
No, I didn't say a thing. I was just reacting to other people's reactions. David?
All right. So, the most impressive performance in the ACC this week, in my opinion, Pittsburgh's freshman quarterback, Mason Henchel, 423 yards, 4 touchdowns in the Panthers' victory over NC State. That made Henchel the first ACC freshman to put up numbers like that. More than 400 yards passing, more than 4 touchdowns, or 4 or more touchdowns through the air in 30 years. Unbelievable performance by Mason Henchel. However, that was not the only great performance this week. And there's one, this is kind of a higher honor than a virtual tailgate game ball. We've got a guy for the first time ever in the month of October has locked up the Luke Kuechly Defensive Player of the Year award, and it is Cal linebacker Cade Uluave.
Nailed it.
We're gonna have to learn it, as Andrew told us, because I think the Kuechly Award is changing its name. A career high 19 tackles in the losing effort against the Hokies. 2 of them sacks, 3 of them for loss. Unbelievable performance. If you watched any of that game, you know it was because the reason the linebacker was making every tackle is because nobody on the defensive line bothered to stop a run in the entire game. Congratulations, Cade.
All right. Well, several of those tackles that Cade accomplished during that game on Friday night might have been to credit it to my game ball this week. Marcellus Hawkins, who was the running back for Virginia Tech, he had just a bit of a good day. 21 rushes, pretty pedestrian. A little bit of a heavy load, but not too much. But to the tune of 167 yards on the ground. And as you said, David, you're definitely not getting stopped on the D line if you're putting up 8 yards per carry. A lot of that ended up in the second half, where Virginia Tech just ran all over the Cal Bears defense. Really, Cal had no answer for the running game of the Virginia Tech Hokies to the tune of 357 yards in what turned out to be quite an exciting Friday night double OT victory for the Virginia Tech Hokies. On the season, Marcellus Hawkins flown a little under the radar until this week, but he's really picked it up the last couple weeks. He's on the season, courtesy of his performance this week, is averaging 6.2 yards per carry every time he touches the ball. So maybe somebody to look out for as we get into November, really picking up steam and momentum in his play the last few weeks.
All right, and now it's time for the power rankings brought to you by the Deep Thoughts from the Virtual Tailgate. And this is usually a comical point of the show. I kind of want to go ahead and take this opportunity to be serious for a moment. For any NFL fans, Nick Mangold was a center for the New York Jets that unfortunately passed away at the age of 41 on October 25th, 2025, due to the complications from chronic kidney disease. The Ohio State alum, late first round pick, 11-year career, all with the Jets, leaves behind a wife and 4 kids. Uh, and you know, knowing that at least for our side of the family, Jeff and I, we had a father that we lost due to essentially kidney disease in some form, and it's something that I think at the end of the day really doesn't get enough attention. So, 90,000 people in the United States are waiting for kidney transplants, and 12 die every day while waiting. It underscores the need for kidney disease research, organ donation awareness, and better treatment options for those with this unfortunate disease. Uh, all donations from the Mangold family have been requested to be made to the American Kidney Fund in Nick's memory, and you could do so at kidneyfund.org. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and go jump into the power rankings and try to get back in the lighter mood. Top five here: Georgia Tech not moving up or down; they're still at the top after their 41-16 win over Syracuse. Number two is Syracuse, jumping up a spot after their 38-24 win over Boston College. Miami jumps back up a spot to number three after their 42-7 win over Stanford, although the U made it very interesting in the first half, being tied up at 7 apiece at the end of one half, end of the second quarter. Number four, Virginia dropping down 2 spots after their 17-16 win over UNC, which I have to say, that is a legit FU award. He did win UVA, but yeah, not many people are.
I would say that was earned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
eye of the beholder, right? And
That's
number
correct.
five, yeah, because yeah, you got it, coach. Number five, Pitt joining the club here, jumping up 2 spots after their 53-34 win over the Wolfpack. Our bottom three here, believe it or not, Virginia Tech is not here anymore. So congratulations, Hokies, you moved out. But we still have Stanford dropping down 2 spots after that whooping at the U on Friday night. Number 16 is North Carolina dropping down another spot after that heartbreaking loss to UVA. They whipped for two to get the win. They were literally inches away from it. And number 17, jeez, the season just cannot end soon enough. Boston College. I, 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 what do we even say at this point?
Come on, you damn bird! Come and get me! The Rock says they jump you at the bottom of the barrel because you absolutely suck!
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Well, now that we've gone ahead and finished the power rankings, we're going to jump into a little different segment. And I'm going to go ahead and keep talking until Andrew gives me a visual cue that states that he's got the next song lined up ready to go. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at Andrew. He's going to nod when he says he's got it.
I just like making you squirm, dude.
Oh, There we go.
I like the fact that you said you were gonna keep talking, and then you immediately stopped talking.
Well, Andrew's over there smiling like a little, like a shark.
Outstanding athlete.
He's just there, look at the camera.
Does Duke play football? You're damn right we play football.
Then you got cussed up over here talking.
Outstanding athlete.
And that's all media bull crap.
Hey, Dabo.
I'm sick of it. I don't even know why we even bring up the daggum word. Next question.
All right, everybody. Yes, if you're familiar with that theme song, that means Judge Jared is back in session and actually quite early for the year. Now, of course, you all are probably thinking it's time for the Hire or Fire segment here that we do annually on the podcast, but we had a suggestion in our mailbox that says, let's try to do something a little differently. So we're going to go ahead and approach this with a different perspective, I guess is the best way to put it. I would actually be serving as the arbitrator, Judge Jared, not necessarily making decisions one way or the other of like hire or fire, but saying the representative that the client is going to be represented by. I just repeated those words 3 times in different phrases. It essentially is that we're going to have each of our podcasts here represent the university for the head coach that is going to be looking to leave to go somewhere. Just various jobs openings right now, whether it be LSU, Penn State, Florida, Oklahoma State, the list can go on. And these coaches here are getting rumored to be looking elsewhere. So what we're going to do is that we're going to have each person here defend the coach and convince the coach to stay where they are. Without further ado, we're going to just go ahead and start with Mr. Andrew Marshall. It looks like here today for arbitration, we have Brent Key with Georgia Tech. He will be representing Georgia Tech to convince Brent to go ahead and remain where he is and not look elsewhere, and that he should be happy-go-lucky. Andrew, you have the floor.
I mean, I think this is the easiest sell to stay of any of our coaches that are there. Brent, you played at Georgia Tech. You had to go somewhere else to get a little bit of experience, but you even got to come back and and work under other coaches at Georgia Tech. You won the job after being interim. Like, you're the guy. And never mind what the world looks like where you see coaches popping around. You're part of the ACC. That means that you're part of the conference where you had guys like George Welsh at Virginia for a very long time. You had guys like Frank Beamer who spent all of their career at Tech, and you did a good job. They made themselves legends there. You can still do that. You don't have to bounce around to the next biggest paycheck and biggest paycheck. This may be your year. You may do everything that you want to here, but like, keep going with it. You want to be the man somewhere. You're never going to be as loved at any other school, no matter how good you do, as you will be at Georgia Tech for being the golden son who came back, who's made things better ever since you've been there. And honestly, like, wherever else you go, these jobs that are open, they're going to a national championship in like 3 years. And then they're going to fire you on year 4 if you don't get it. It's just the way it is. Georgia Tech, like every 3 to 5 years in the ACC, you're going to get a cupcake schedule again, and you're going to have a shot at running it. You keep recruiting the way you go. I think you're going to continue to have shots at getting into the CFP because, like, hey, they've ranked you in the top 10 right now, 8-0. And you haven't beaten any of our big boys yet. So, like, dude, what else can you want? You don't have to have the biggest payday. I think 4.1 million goes a long way in Georgia. Long way.
We understand that here, but there's also a coach over there that's in Athens that makes quite a bit more money, and you're just telling me that
Athens has a higher cost of living.
I understood, but the fact is that Brent is living in Atlanta, which is probably the more expensive aspect of Georgia to live in. Is that correct?
No, obviously Athens is much more expensive. Do you think that Brent lives in Atlanta? Come on now.
Your Honor, may I file a brief on behalf of this case?
Proceed.
I believe that Brent Key should stay in the conference because I remember all the many times Your Honor confused him with the former coach of UC. I don't wanna lose that part of our history.
Uh, Understood and appreciated, sir. Thank
So,
you.
so David, what you're saying is he should change teams, but go to one where when Jared refers to his head coach, he at least refers to the right one.
No, I do not want Brent Key coaching the Hokies.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Should
Uh,
should, should Judge Jared want Brent Key coaching the Hokies?
oh my God, we take him in a heartbeat. Um, eh, I think at the end of the day, Mr. Marshall, I think you made the best case you could, but I think if the money calls and the opportunity arises, I think Brent may legit look elsewhere, and I advise him to do so. Georgia Tech's ceiling is only as such what is available to him in the ACC, which, yes, you could have these years where you can run the table, but you will have to do it. It's not guaranteed to be able to be done on a consistent basis, but the ACC grants the rights still in flux in a vicious way. Until that's resolved, I think there's going to be a lot of instability in the ACC in terms of head coaches, especially the ones with the big name and the current buzz, where other opportunities are available in a more stable conference. Brent, I highly advise you to go. And Andrew, I appreciate your input, but I think at this point, I think Brent heads out.
Before this season, Brent Key was only 2 games above 500 in 3 years at Georgia Tech. He should absolutely go. Cash in on us.
All right. So next up here on on our podcast for defense, we have a Mr. Rhett, apologies, Rhett
Reed.
Reed, I know, Rhett Lashley, head coach.
Weak.
Oh my God, and Mr. Van Gelder, Jeffrey Van Gelder will represent him. Jeff, um, I'm listening. I'm looking here why Rhett would like to leave. Um, I'll go ahead and let you have the floor and convince him otherwise.
Well, I mean, first of all, SMU is uniquely positioned in the ACC. As you'll know, the ACC stands for Atlantic Coast Conference, meaning that schools are typically located on the Atlantic and on the coast. SMU is neither one of those, which gives Rhett Lashley a unique recruiting area compared to the rest of the ACC, as well as an ACC that has typically muddles in the middle. There's typically not a dominant team. Rhett Lashley has the chance to recruit in an area that he might be competing with other conferences. He will not be competing with his peers in the ACC for recruiting, and he'll be able to put together a solid squad, one that he's already put together in just the short couple of years he's been at SMU, with the opportunity to become the next real owner of the really owning the ACC year after year, or at least on a regular basis, by continuing to pull a set of talent from a pool that nobody else in the ACC is pulling from. I will also say that money does not buy happiness, though it does although it does help an awful lot. But it's been reported that SMU may just have a little bit of money lying around. So while money does talk and money does call, I think it may call louder at SMU than maybe some of the other places that Rhett Lashley is going to be fielding phone calls from.
Don't you feel at this time, though, Mr. Lashley has gone ahead and hit the ceiling that he can with SMU at this time?
Look, the ceiling is the floor. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Uh, yeah, Ugh, that that did something. Okay, Mr. Lashley, here's my advice to you at the end of the day. Look at what's around you in the ACC. Yes, it does seem the conference is a little easier to navigate. However, if that was the theory, why are you struggling in the middle of the power rankings and not having control of your own destiny to get back to the ACC title game? I know you had a fantastic year last year, got to the college football playoff, and you went ahead and bowed out in the first round. I think at the end of the day, you seriously should consider your options around. If
So
Florida
so
comes,
so 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 what I'm hearing is in a middle tier conference, he's in the middle, so take a payday and go play harder teams? Is that what you're saying? And then get
Take a
fired and
payday,
then
fired, and not have to do anything for that
I
money.
well, I mean, well, okay, before we do the rest of this, that's what all these guys should do, right? I mean, like, let's be honest here. I mean, none of these guys.
Maybe maybe he wants to go home. So he Rhett Lashley played at Arkansas. That job's open.
yeah.
He coached at Auburn. That job might be open.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and just say, Lashley, go ahead and head out. Carry on, wayward son. Next case, Mr. Vaughn, someone that looks like has gone ahead and studied the briefs and knows the situations in front of each of his clients here. I see you're representing him, Mister. You're representing the college, the University of Louisville, regarding Mr. Jeff Brohm looking elsewhere. Um, Go ahead, Mr. Vaughn, take the floor and prevents your client to remain put.
Yeah, Jeff, you are a legend in Louisville. Jeff Brohm played quarterback at Louisville. He was an assistant coach. He suffered as an assistant coach under one Bobby Petrino. He has put in his time there, went away, earned his head coaching chops, was at Purdue, was very loyal at Purdue during, I believe it was 6 years he coached there, had the opportunity once to come home to Louisville, felt like he had not finished the job at Purdue. He stayed. The job opened up in 2023. He took it, has done a tremendous job at Louisville. He is beloved there. They've got deep pockets there. You guys know, they consistently draw some of the greatest. Every survey has this one of the biggest fan bases. People love college sports in Louisville. That's true, of course, for basketball. It's true for football as well. He's doing a tremendous job there. He's got the Cardinals in a really, really good position to compete, not just this year, but long term in the ACC. And this is somebody who has never wanted to be anywhere else. This is his dream job. I think Andrew said with Brent Key that he thought he had the easiest case. I think this is the easiest case. Jeff Brom has never wanted to be anywhere else. This school and this program are taking good care of him. The ceiling is the roof there in Louisville, and this is a man who will retire a Louisville Cardinal.
Then can you explain to me why the buyout is so low, support supposedly at only $1 million for Mr. Brom to lead?
Your Honor, I was not involved in that negotiation nor aware of it. Um,
Do you feel there's a possibility that the client does want out and wants that exit avenue or the exit ramp available to them with such a low buyout number in terms of contracts?
no, I
Mr.
don't know.
Vaughn,
I mean, I don't know. I don't think he. I mean, so he'll have opportunities, right? If you're Florida, you should come after him. If you're Oklahoma State, you should come after him. I think Louisville's going to take care of him. They want him there. They're going to match whatever offers out there. He's building something that's very special there. There will be a Jeff Brom statue outside that stadium if he stays there. He's not going to be able to achieve that anywhere else.
understood. Mr. Braun, my advice to you is this. You seem to have your options laid out in front of you, one way or the other. You could go ahead and continue with Louisville and shoot for the stars and what I think is at the end of the day a possible and probably a limited opportunity every few years you could make the college football playoff, assuming you win the ACC. Or you go ahead, you pay out that $1 million just to exit the contract and look for greener pastures. You can always come back home. Various coaches have. Various coaches are doing it right now. Uh, I really think if you just don't turn each and every stone available to you, you're going to live to regret it. My advice to you is, Mr. Jeff Brom, is to go ahead and take a whack at another opportunity. Worst case scenario, you fail, you pay out, you wait for Louisville job to open back up if you really want to get back home, or you get a location closer. Hell, Kentucky's probably going to be opened up. Wouldn't that be funny, huh?
Your Honor, speaking of taking a whack at it, if this happens, if Jeff Brom leaves, Louisville could do the funniest thing ever and bring Bobby Petrino back for a third round.
After Arkansas tells them no thanks again, that would be very funny. Yes, it really, really would. Okay, so we're going to move on to our second round of clients. Mr. Marshall, I'm going to ask you to approach the bench. Again, looks like you're representing the University of Pittsburgh, and the client at issue here is Mr. Patrick Narduzzi. Um, I'll let you have the floor.
Pat, you've been at Pitt for a decade. You're 20 games over 500. This is decent. You're not going to make it to 2030 with Pitt, Pat. I know I'm supposed to convince you to stay, but take that bag, man. If somebody shows up with the money, take that bag. Somebody is going to fire you by 2030.
Oh,
Make it be somebody with deep pockets in the SEC and
Okay.
not Pitt, who's just going to let your contract run out and kick you. This is the
Okay.
way the game goes.
Okay.
I'm telling you, buddy, it's
you.
just not going to get better.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Thank you. That's enough. Although this is not an official trial, although this is not an official trial, if I had the ability to do so, I would tell you to disregard Mr. Narduzzi, disregard any information from that, and this is a mistrial. However, since I don't have that ability, since I'm just an arbitrator, take it for what you will. If you feel like you want to go to greener pastures, Patrick, be my guest. And you don't, I really don't care. You're Pitt football. Next case.
Wait. Real talk.
Okay.
I think the Michigan State job is probably gonna open up. Pat Narduzzi was the DC there for almost a decade. I bet he goes home to Michigan State.
Big Ten money too. Very good point. I think that makes a perfect fit. And Patrick, if that's the opportunity given to you, you should take it. Next up, looks like we have Mr. Van Gelder here representing the University of Duke, because Duke does play football, and he's representing Mr. Manny Diaz. Mr. Van Gelder, the floor is yours.
Well, as you know, Manny Diaz at the great, as you called it, University of Duke, um, has had he's had quite a great start to his tenure here at the University of Duke as the head football coach. A lot of great things that he can do with this team. He's definitely got a great track record of taking over programs that have at least been put in a stable place by his predecessors. And I believe that Manny that this is a job that he's been kind of floating around for a while. He's been looking for the right spot to build his legacy. He's had a couple of stints at Miami, was at Penn State, had was even at NC State back in the early 2000s. So to me, this position here is the one. This is the legacy builder here. This is the type of the type of job that you can as David, as you talked about the statue of Geoff Brohm. This is the statue building type of program that Manny Diaz can put together if he stays for the long run at a school like the University of Duke.
They don't
To
even play the coach cut sound whenever they get third down. How is Manny Diaz gonna get a statue?
come on, I was on a roll. I thought I had
Yeah.
something.
Coach K here, Diaz there. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go down.
All right, Mr. Van Gelder, I think,
He gone.
yeah, Manny, if Penn State opens up and they offer it to you, or hell, like Oklahoma State, I think any other program, unless Duke and Mr. Van Gelder, this is regarding Duke football and Duke University itself, and unless they're willing to take the sport seriously and get the fans interested, your services will be better suited and uh, uh, better paid out at another venue. So, Manny, I wish you the best. If it opens up, you should take it.
As
Next,
as Geoff seems to know, because it appeared that he was just reading things off of Manny's Wikipedia page. Um, Manny Diaz is a graduate of Florida State, another job that might open up this offseason.
oh, poor Mike. Mike, by the way, Mr. Norvell, by the way, your summons has been sent, and I expect
Don't sit there and accuse me of being like Judge Jared. Okay, I take that offense seriously.
It was I was with you until you somehow just brought up the fact that he was once an assistant coach at NC State 20 years ago.
I'm pulling the ACC connection here. He's an ACC guy with some Big Ten and like other
From Penn
conferences.
State, yeah. Yeah, good call, good call.
All right.
All I know is I'm really hoping that the last one that Judge Jared is gonna. I'm really hoping David doesn't bring his A game for this one. That's all I'm saying.
Next up is Mr. Vaughn again, representing University of Virginia, regarding Mr. Tony Elliott. Yeah, this is interesting. Never thought I'd see his name on this list. I thought it'd be the other one.
Neither did we.
I think he's been before you before,
Yeah,
just for different reasons.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, Mr. Elliott, it's nice to see you in a different venue other than begging for your job. Um, you're actually going to be, looks like, have an opportunity to tell people no thanks. But I'll let Mr. Vaughn go ahead and let you convince you otherwise. So, Mr. Vaughn.
Yeah, in a way, I feel about this client the way Andrew did about Mr. Narduzzi, which is, you know, Tony Elliott, it does seem to be building something at Virginia. This is a kind of an upstart Virginia team, certainly the best unit that he's had since he's been there. They're overachieving this year. They've invested really heavily. They're big in the NIL thing, transfer portal deal now. The reasons why he might be tempted to go somewhere, even a lateral move, would be it's not entirely clear that the university will stay this bought into the program. And so it's possible that he's in a kind of sell high position here in terms of cashing in and going somewhere. At the same time, I do have the sense that Tony Elliott wants to build something here. He had opportunities to leave Clemson before he did, chose to stay there. He picked this spot intentionally at Virginia to try to build something with the culture there in this region, in this conference. And clearly, the job is not done yet. And however this season unfolds for the Cavaliers, there's still going to be more of that mountain to climb. I think he wants that challenge. UVA is paying him well. UVA is probably best job security you can have at a Power 4 school in the sense that they have demonstrated they will hang on to coaches longer than most schools will. Um, and that there's something to that. So I think Tony stays. If he puts together a couple more solid seasons, then who might come calling. But I think this year, like it's not gonna be, Penn State's not coming for him. LSU's not coming for him.
Mr. Vaughn, I understand that. Thank you for expunging on that. My question is real quick: is UVA going to possibly give more money to Mr. Elliott?
I think that they should not. Um,
Oh,
I don't think he's gonna be that much in demand.
uh,
Like, of these open jobs, maybe UCLA is interested in I
okay, then what? And Mr. Vaughn, what's the plan of action at this
Then
point?
if we can break character here for a second though, that doesn't preclude UVA from betting against itself.
yeah, they might negotiate against themselves.
Yeah,
That's happened before. It has.
yeah,
But I'm
negotiate
I'm
against itself.
hopeful that maybe the university has learned something from that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Obviously, Mr. Elliott, I would say if anyone offers you a dime more than what UVA is willing to pay, take it for what you feel is job security wise the best interest for you and your family. So far, 6 coaches, I've advised them all to move up and move out. We got one coach left here, and this is just
What a great conference we've got here.
it really
A
is.
great judge we've got here.
Arbitrator, get it right. Anyway, we have one more coach here under representation of Marshall, Vaughn, and Van Gelder. That's really a handful right there. The
What
law firm. I hope they're
It's
charged by.
it's attorneys at law, okay?
Yeah, hope you all
Marshall Marshall Vaughn Van Gelder, attorneys at law. Okay, you'll be getting our bill like shortly thereafter.
And actually, you guys are coming together to represent the University of Clemson here regarding Mr. Dabo Swinney. I actually am very intrigued to see what y'all have to say about this. So I'll go ahead and open the floor to all three of you for representing the University of Clemson to retain the services of Mr. Dabo Swinney.
I mean, if we're gonna say why Dabo should stay, we've tried to talk about people who could become the guy at any place. And like, if Dabo ended this season and said, I'm gonna buy a Caribbean island and not do anything else with the rest of my life, they would take a year or so because they'd be a little annoyed at how this season went, but they would build a statue to the man. Um, it would say media bullcrap underneath it. We really hope. but but like it he already is the man there. And so if you want to, if that's what you wanted, if you wanted to be the man at a school and make it your legacy, you just keep staying and you figure out how to go. But the world has changed, David.
Yeah. I mean, Dabo's in a weird position, right? Where he he might both be kind of on a hot seat at Clemson and kind of in demand for some other high profile jobs. And that I don't know if I can think of a time quite like that for a coach. I, gosh, it's easy to think of reasons he should leave if he has that chance. Just because the momentum is not there at Clemson right now. It's a little bit of a reset and a little bit of a rebuild. Does he want to do that in this place where he is still largely beloved, where he's had tremendous success, or does he want to go kind of stretch his legs and spread his wings somewhere else? I think Dabo is somebody who thrives on consistency. He is somebody who puts down deep roots and encourages his players and assistant coaches to do the same. And so I think at the end of the day, Dabo stays and writes this thing. He's also got, like every coach, pretty big ego. He believes that he can fix this thing. I think he's going to try to do it. But man, if LSU comes calling, it'd be awfully hard to say no to that.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more beyond all that. It's I do think it's interesting as we're kind of wrapping this up is we just made the case for of the 7 coaches, why why maybe Dabo has the strongest case to not go. But if we're to look at these current openings that we just kind of jotted down before the show started, I think it's always a tenuous decision, right? Because we could easily so Dabo of all the people, I don't have their salaries in front of me, but I'm assuming Dabo is by far and away the most compensated of these seven coaches. I could be wrong on that, but of these coaches. So the money aspect, which really is kind of a hard thing to account for in this, should they leave or go? Because if you're gonna throw money in somebody's face, yeah, they're gonna leave. They're most likely gonna leave. If you're gonna double somebody or add 50% to somebody's annual salary, I mean that's hard money to 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 say no thanks to, even if you like where you're at. So you almost have to take that and set it aside. But I do think Dabo is one of the few in this list, and that's not to discount anybody else on here that could go to one of these other high profile open jobs and that I believe has a chance to be successful. And that's nothing that's not trying to I think a lot of these other coaches at this point, depending on the program, are at a program that fits them well. Dabo, I think, as well, the kind of the NIL thing aside, but most of these other coaches, depending on who comes calling, I would be awfully concerned, at their ability to put a successful program together. Now, at the end of the day, if they're paid, right? Andrew, you said it. I mean, it's that they get paid one way or the other. So I'm not going to feel bad for them, but I'm just thinking about the opportunity to be successful at their next stop. I think is much smaller for the 6 that we talked about before compared to Dabo.
Well, and the thing, like I said to you guys pre-show, which I don't know that this would ever be the case, but if Dabo wanted to like have a revelation about NIL, I don't know how well that would go over at Clemson. But I think if he showed up somewhere and said, "Oh, I talked to the the player development guys and the recruiting guys at LSU, and they showed me their NIL system, and I just saw the light." I really think he could reinvent himself in another school and be on board with the new world. But I don't know how well, like, he's not let that system be built for him at Clemson yet, and so I don't know that he could suddenly have a revelation and ask for tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to be poured into his school. I think the next guy could, but I don't know about him.
I don't know, man. If Dabo says, "Hey, I've decided to start winning national championships again, you guys in?" They might like that.
Yeah, but you gotta do it without the money first, is what I'm saying.
I think they've
Whereas if
got
you
plenty of money, though. It's just that they don't take transfers. Like, they're
Right.
paying the guys on the roster. Like, they're paying these kids out of high school pretty well.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I think he should go, though. If he, if he's got a chance to, kinda start over somewhere, do it.
Yep. Can pick
I
up a new
I
accent.
Real question is, do these high profile jobs want him? Like, I mean, there was a time where he seemed like the possible successor to Nick Saban, right? Like, Dabo's an Alabama guy, but by the time Saban retired, like, there was nobody really thought Dabo was at that level anymore. And Kirby Smart's kinda taken over as, like, the kind of the elder statesman of the sport, and Dabo, I don't know, he's kind of sort of a second tier elite coach now.
I mean, I think there's justification of what you said, but it's not as if he doesn't have. It's kind of like in baseball, how you get paid for what you did, not for what you're for what you're going to do when you get these huge contracts. I think with Dabo, there's still enough there. Like the man has not forgotten how to coach. He might have a different way of going about, um, how he manages his rosters, the NIL stuff, and all that. Um, but I I still think that whether it works out or not, I still believe that it is my opinion that he's viewed highly as a candidate. That none of these teams that are looking for coaches don't have him on their "let's give him a call" list. I mean, that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I can't imagine they don't have him. Now, Tony Elliott, who knows whose list he's on? Manny Diaz, Pat Narduzzi, who knows whose list he's on? Dabo, I mean, if you think you got a shot, I don't know why any team would exclude him right now, even with a few down years at Clemson. It's always about, are you going to get something better than what you had before, or your next best alternative? I mean, it's hard to argue that he's the best alternative out there if you just fired your coach.
And even in the down years, I mean, he's still finishing like top 15 in the country.
Yeah.
Most schools would give anything for that.
exactly. I think you all made it clear here at this point what the Dabo should do or not do, and on that note, looks like we're done with our arbitration cases. So, court adjourned.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. You guys want to talk about actual football for a minute?
No.
Sure.
Well, last week on this very show, we made some picks, and they were very, very, very bad picks. We were all big time in the red, crashing back to earth. Of course, what that means is that since we all stunk it up a week ago, Andrew is still way out ahead on the season, but we now know that that is almost entirely because of his hate for Florida State, and the fact that
Not true. I picked them to beat Alabama. I know I am next to Norvell. I'm in his head. I
when
know
Norvell
what's gonna
gets
happen.
fired, when he is dragging his Christmas tree to the curb, he's gonna be cursing you.
Always possible.
Andrew is, indeed way ahead. Geoff is solidly in second place, which makes me doubt these results even more. Um,
Solid number 2.
I'm barely in the black, just a little above 0. Jared, of course, is flat broke. Now we look at this week's games. Jared and I are going to try to turn things around. We're going first to Saturday afternoon. Virginia Cavaliers headed west to Berkeley, taking on the Cal Bears. This is a 4-point spread in favor of the Cavaliers. We are split down the middle with the brothers Van Gelder going with the Bears. Why is Cal the bet here?
So here's the good news. One of us is going to be right because we all chose each possible option. So someone is going to cash in on this. I just don't know who. I said Cal is going to cover the spread. I just get that feeling that UVE's kind of got that team of destiny crap going on right now where they're going to stumble into victories no matter how hard they try to lose. I think Cal is going to have to figure out how to recover from a little bit more of a longer football game they had. They took Virginia Tech, fly back across the country, and try to get ready for UVA, who's going to have a later kickoff to be able to, and have their body adjust to this game on the West Coast. I I got Cal to go ahead and cover the spread. I think UVA does win though, and the spread
Yeah.
-4. Should clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in since we're on the Cal on the Cal discussion right now. Um, I think that this is I think there's a few things going on with this game, that are kind of speculative. I don't have a lot of firm numbers to support the position, but one, this is a Cal team that have been playing for the most part solid football. A game in which they really had Virginia Tech in a good position to come away with that win, in a against a rowdy Friday night crowd at Lane Stadium, and then the wheels just totally came off, especially on that run defense in the second half. So totally a terrible loss for the Bears in that game. Um, I think that reinvigorates them, maybe makes them double down, try a little bit harder to get prepared for this game against the Cavaliers. On the other hand, I can't help and Andrew, you said it probably best after the UNC game is that Virginia at 7-1 is a bad interception away from being undefeated and maybe 3 or 4 plays away from being like 4-4. And that's kind of what this feels like a Cavalier team that has been playing with fire, has had some lucky breaks go their way the last few weeks. This is a Cal team that I believe has the ability, especially at home, to play a competitive game. I think they are really going to make this a difficult game for the Cavaliers. Don't discount that having to fly across the country to get ready for this game and the impact that has on the Cavaliers. But we talk about value picks here. Not a whole lot of payout at plus 145, but I think that Virginia has been playing with fire for the last few weeks, and this is the week that it finally bites them.
I also think Virginia's been playing with fire these past few weeks. I think our offense has looked rough, rough, but I'm unwilling to pick against them right now, and so I'm just gonna sit with them on the money line and assume that, I know it's not actually possible if we go from winning by 2 to winning by 1. You can't actually win by 0, but, like, I don't know that I believe that we're gonna wrap around and win by 30 or anything like that. Although, David, you feel confident, apparently.
Yeah, you guys are all wrong. Um, I watched the Cal Bears go up against Virginia Tech last week, and I saw what the Virginia Tech running game did to this Cal defense. This is the ideal get right game for a Virginia running attack that looked very good for the first half of the season, has struggled, some injuries on the offensive line, some weird stuff going on there. This is the game where they get right again. These Virginia backs are going to run all over Cal. Virginia wins by 2 touchdowns. Next up.
I think Kyron Drones is running out to the outside again. It's gonna get
Right? Like, it was I mean, Cal, every run play went for 6 yards, and I mean, it's unbelievable, and I don't believe the Bears can fix that in 1 week, and so I think Virginia gets the win, and it's not as close as people are thinking here.
It's funny. After watching that game on Friday, I kind of was like, you know what? The Cal fans want their head coach fired, and after watching that, I kind of get it. Like,
Jeez.
you're just like, huh.
Alright, so let's go to prime time. Yellow Jacket
Yeah.
Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech, headed down to Carter Finley Stadium, taking on NC State. Yellow Jackets, ACC leaders, number 1 team in our power rankings. They come in as 4.5-point favorites over the Wolfpack. It's hard for me to imagine anybody not taking Georgia Tech and giving the points here. Looks like most of us are doing that. Um, I don't know, Andrew, Geoff, what is it about Georgia Tech that you like here?
I I mean, everything that we've seen so far is what there is to like about this. This is starting like, if we look at Georgia Tech's schedule, um, this is the you know, this starts to get us into the 3-game stretch that feels like the traps for them. It's very easy at this point to be, we're 8-0, first in the ACC. NC State's not that good. After that, we get to face BC, which is just, it will be harder to face their practice squad. Then they get to take on Pitt. all of that starts to get them looking past everything to Georgia. And I think that this is that game where they need to lock down. They need to make sure that they get on the road. The fact that they've got this little road test, the next 2 weeks, lock in and make sure that they're gonna actually make it to the ACC championship. The Georgia game legit doesn't matter, honestly, or at least that's what I would be telling them. It's these next 3 games that are important. These are the games that get you to where you want to be in late December and early January. But I mean, there's little not to like about Georgia Tech. The only thing that is perpetually scary about them is that it seems like there's a pretty big fall off after King if he ever has to step out for any reason. But there's no indication that's going to happen. And so not only Georgia Tech, but with such a small spread, we're going to take the points every day.
It's kind of the caveat on everything with Georgia Tech is as goes Hayes King, as goes their season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Andrew on this one. As far as Georgia Tech and the spread, this is an NC State team that every week we get ready to pick these games, and every week I feel like they should be better than they actually are. Like their record should be better. They should be better than 4-4. A lot of wasted talent, especially on that offensive side of the ball, makes me feel like that they could come up and bite anybody on any given week. And there is something about this game because it's a Georgia Tech team that I feel like has been a beneficiary to a certain extent of a few close games, a soft schedule. But I also have not seen anything out of NC State to make me think that they can take advantage of the talent that they have on offense because that defense is a sieve. So I picked Georgia Tech. I mean, they could end up losing this game. There's something that makes me feel like NC State at some point is going to get a win against somebody that they shouldn't. I just don't know when it's going to happen.
I think they already got it against us.
Yep. The Virginia win was that. That's exactly right. Yeah, I think the problem here for the Wolfpack, and Geoff said it well, it's like they can do some things on offense, and it feels like in a way a wasted campaign, wasting a lot of talent there. And the problem is their defense. They can't stop anybody. I think they're 105th in the nation in scoring defense. And Georgia Tech, whatever else you want to say about them, their offense, it never quite makes sense to me. And they don't put up the big kind of yardage numbers that you might expect. But at the end of the day, you look on the scoreboard and they've got 35 points. That's what's going to happen on Saturday. They win. They win it comfortably. I guess we're in consensus on that. Jared, it looks like there's a typo on yours.
No, that's not a typo. I got NC State to cover the spread. I'm not saying they're going to win. Just to clarify that right now. But I think they're going to make it tight. Listen, prime time, spooky things happen. It's the night after Halloween. They're probably going to be a little tipsy, a little drunk from the day after all the Halloween college festivities because, they're just going to be drinking and boozing and up even the players and all that. NC State's going to be focused. So they're going to be saying, we're going to win. We're going to win this football game. We're going to win it for Coach Dorn. Okay, we're going to go down there. We're going to go ahead, take these Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and we're going to smush them to the ground. Like this. And it's going to be enough to cover the spread. And that's all that really matters. If you cover the spread, you've already won. If you get
Good teams win, great teams cover.
There you go. You got it. That's all I need.
All right, fellas, let's go back in time. The noon affair from Gerald Ford Stadium. I don't think it's that Gerald Ford, but it is home of the. That's definitely not Gerald Ford. It's the home of the Southern Methodist.
That's our education system for you guys.
Well, that's what I learned.
Jeez.
This is actually the episode where Jared's going to announce that he's running for school board. Mustangs of SMU coming off the heartbreaking 1-point last second loss to Wake Forest, hosting the Miami Hurricanes. Miami got right a week ago with the dominant second half over Stanford. Hurricanes sitting now at 6-1 on the season. SMU's 5-3. Andrew, again, every development in these bets that we make leads to the fact that Andrew's up to something. There's some funny business. For some reason, he's decided to give us this game at a 2.5 point spread, though in real life, in the actual timeline, it's more like 12.5. What that means, he's baiting us to clearly take Miami. He knows something. Um, and it looks like we are all taking Miami, giving 2.5. So we're not going to talk about the funny business on the gambling side of this. I'm just going to ask you, what is this a trap game for the U? What does SMU need to do to pull the upset?
Well, I'll go first. Um, Miami started off really slow, and actually, it's been a bit of an issue all year. Is that Miami starts slow in the first half,
They play
and
with their food.
yes, exactly, yeah, and then they put it together in the second half, and they usually take care of business. If SMU can put up 3 scores before Miami can get their act together, as in, like, they're up 17-0 or so, something like that, I think that can give Miami enough a problem to where they have to play catch up fast. Now, they only get up 10-0 or 13-0. I don't think that's enough. I think Miami overcomes that without a problem. Is that 3 score mentality that really makes teams think like, "Oh man, like we're really in trouble here." And I think if SMU can find a way to get ahead like that, I think they're actually going to be in a position to control the game. If they don't, I think Miami goes ahead, they recover. They may not be leading at halftime, but they will overcome SMU's deficiencies in terms of what Miami has on terms of the talent aspect. So I still have Miami covering the spread. I still say bet the mortgage on it. I just right now don't see anything where SMU can go ahead and take advantage of a potential Miami slow start.
Yeah, it's I agree with everything that Jared said. I want to throw something out here. I don't know how many teams are in the FBS league of college football, but I do know there's at least 135 because SMU's passing defense comes into the game at 135th in the country, giving up over 300 yards a game through the air alone. I do agree with what Jared and David said about Miami's tendency to play with their food, so to speak, in the first half, and that is a risk for this SMU game that Miami may get down a little bit early and get in a hole that they can't climb themselves out of. But on paper, this is a Miami team that should, even though it feels like it should be a closer game by the 2.5, but clearly not by the current spread of 12 points now. Um, this is a Miami team that should be able to really exploit that secondary of the Mustangs and put up a lot of points through the air. And yeah, I think that it's a game that really Miami the game that really got them was when Carson Beck got shut down. When you had a team with a solid defense like Louisville Cardinals came in and really caused problems for them. I don't foresee this game against SMU causing him the same problems. And yeah, I think Miami's gonna pretty much pass the ball all over the field against this defense.
Yeah, I think um, there's a temptation, and just like we saw when we were talking about um, our coaches and uh, where they could end up in time to come. There's a temptation to immediately go back to what's happened last year, and look at SMU and say, oh yeah, the SMU team that came in and took the ACC by storm. Except that like we were kind of telling ourselves that story thinking that SMU was going to be the next Florida State, that they were going to show up and just, beat the pants off of us for years to come. And they've really fallen back to earth quickly. Um, for a team that was supposed to have found its quarterback last year and be, just primed and ready to go. Those stats that you just read, Geoff, are miserable. It, I don't really care who you are, and I'm not saying that Wake is a bad team, but losing 13-12 to anybody it doesn't matter what the other score was. 12 is just an indictment on you. You shouldn't be only scoring that little in that way. So I really don't think that SMU is the next Florida State like we might have thought. And so I don't feel much hope. Even though Like, dude, not I know David said don't talk about the gambling bet, but like our money line numbers still look like a 12.5 point spread. Like you could get plus 380 on this game if you decided to take SMU to win outright, but like I don't think that's a good bet.
No, it's not. The problem in this just comes down to kind of what you guys have been saying. This is a Miami team that can score points, and they're going to have plenty of chances to do that at SMU. And it's hard to see SMU keeping up with them. Now, I do think if you're looking at like a 12.5 point spread, I think I'd be inclined to take SMU to cover that. They don't get blown out by teams. They hang in there. And I don't really think I don't think this is a 3-score game or something. I just don't think SMU can keep up in the end. So Miami certainly wins, certainly covers a 2.5 point spread. And I've already bet Jared's mortgage on it, so it better
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the quick fire bets to wrap things up here. I'll kick us off with the ridiculous one, which is when the numbers get big, I like to pick the cover. BC covering the 27.5 point spread against Notre Dame. David's shaking his head like it's not actually
Have
going to
you
happen.
seen this BC team?
I have watched this BC team and others from
no.
years
I don't think
before
you have. I don't think you have,
suddenly
Andrew.
decide to show up.
No,
I
not
don't think
hap
you
not
have.
against Notre Dame, it's not happening. Virtual Tailgate could compete with BC this year.
Yeah.
That's quite a thing given that there's only 4 of us. Jared?
Yeah, so I think UNC finally gets over that bad nasty taste in their mouth from the UVA loss. I think they go up to Syracuse, they take care of business, they get the W, and I would say take the money line or spread because they're both the same odds on this podcast.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So for mine, I've got an interesting game, but one that felt atypical, and it really makes it hard to feel comfortable picking these games, unless of course you're Andrew and you feel totally at home picking against a team with a predisposed like powerhouse mentality like the Seminoles. But I've got Duke on the money line here against Clemson. Duke coming in to this game, pretty close spread on this, but I think that the Blue Devils are the better team in this game. I think that secondary of Clemson's going to get exposed, and Duke's going to come out with the victory.
I think we should have talked about that game, probably instead of
Probably.
one of the others, but, yeah, I that's a good take. I think Clemson wins it, but I think I understand why you're saying that, Jeff.
I
I'm
think it's
going
an inconsequential game is why we didn't talk about it, like, by
well, I mean,
comparison.
yeah, I guess you're right, but it should have been consequential. Both of those coaches we said could get poached by someone. Um, all right, I'm going to Stanford. I get it. This is not a good Stanford football team. I don't think they're gonna win in this game over Pitt, but I will say Stanford, if you look at their season, they are a very different team at home versus on the road. In fact, I don't think they've lost at home yet this season. I think they are gonna lose this one on Saturday, but I think they keep it close enough. 15.5 points is a big spread. Pitt is the team that also can play with its food and get itself in trouble. I think Stanford, keeps it close enough to cover that spread.
All right. Anybody got a snap pick on uh, Louisville at Virginia Tech?
Hokies are covering, the spread's too big. It opened at 11.5, it's already down to 9.5. I don't think they're gonna beat Louisville, but they're gonna keep it close.
I agree with David. I think the Hokies, if we're playing really tight and good football for Philip Montgomery, I think they kind of find a way to stay in it until the fourth quarter.
Well,
Did
and our
ditto. Congratulations to Louisville on the blowout.
Yep.
on our last quick fire bet here, just because you guys are looking for that way to make that money on in the FSU game, it's Wake on the money line, baby. Take it.
Man, I hope you're
All
right.
that money that these guys are throwing at the ridiculous like too small spread on the Miami game, actually just put it on Wake at the money line.
If
Put the
that
little money.
happens, Andrew, I'll give you a lock, guarantee here. If Wake wins this football game, there's gonna be a picture of Mike Norvell dragging his Halloween costume to the curb.
Yeah, I agree. I think Wake covers in this game. I think Florida State finds a way, and I mean they may have to legit find a way to win this football game to save Mike Norvell's job.
That's for sure. And that's it for the virtual tailgate. You can send your questions or comments to virtualtailgate@mediabullcrap.com.
And always remember these 3 rules: never get less than 12 hours sleep.
Play cards with a guy who has the same first name as the city.
Never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger on her body.
Stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese.
And that's ball game.